So, coming back from our rather long hiatus, I say hello to all of you, especially those of you who are with us on Twitch, if you are. But I will go ahead and say, let's go ahead and get ourselves back into a little bit of a recap, shall we? So, lo and behold, as our loved and intrepid adventuring party last left off, after finally regaining their cart in the pits of, interesting, hopeless despair at White Ridge, managing to not only gain some semblance of favor with the town after collecting their cart, but actually managing to grab together what seemed to have been a small cult following. In doing so, our party has not only managed to gather themselves around and continue upon their journey with medicine in tow and their end goal nearly in sight. We actually pick ourselves up just as our party is entering a rather, familiar forest. One that not only held what happened earlier that cursed their beloved cart, but something that actually seems to have been following them for quite some time. So, as we go ahead and pick ourselves up and get back into character, we go ahead and do so just as you guys are nearing the bend in the coastal road, which finds itself to be, decrepit and still maintained by some unnatural order. And we'll go ahead and open the floor there. Whatever you would like to do.
Well, Clyde has this scarecrow type thing just tied to his chest, right?
Remember, it ran.
It ran to...
It left you.
Yeah, last time it was propped up against someone else. I think it was Narum.
Yeah, no, it was propped up against someone else, and Clyde's just like, alright, that's enough, and then proceeded to tie it to him.
Yeah, and then when you looked away from it, it removed itself from your chest.
Okay.
Okay. Where on the map are we currently? Just so...
At the moment, if you are looking at the map, you guys are currently... I'll need to erase this for the moment. After exiting White Ridge, you guys have made it quite a distance because you're once again back on the cobbled stone road. You would currently be around this area. It's a long strip of a coastal portion of the road that is on one side, now your right side, is covered in a thick forest that follows a flattened plain until it rises up into a lot of craggy hills. And then to your left is a sheer drop into the ocean after maybe about 100 feet.
And where was the last time, or the first time we encountered the our little guest?
Your little guest was picked up just around, I'll mark this one in red so it's a little bit easier to see, in this kind of area here.
So we're near the area.
Yes, you're very close to it. And this kind of impending sense of dread is starting to find its way leaching into your mind.
And Volk kind of looks around at the those that are about. So should we try to return this thing before we head off? I remember our little tactic to speed our way through could be a little more smoother in this case. Because Velas remembers when they initially did this, they did like a plethora of like spells to keep the horses going at like a decent speed per day.
You're able to just keep them at a decent speed per day. I mean, it's not like you need to do anything special, but the main reason you needed to is because you guys had kept essentially what was a guard in front. You guys had kept an eye out, and you made sure that anything that you would run into that didn't seem to be friendly, you kind of hid yourselves in the forest, let it pass by, and went back on the road.
Mm.
But you didn't really run into too much in that direction, so there really isn't too much to worry about, or so you would hope.
I see.
Mhm.
Nadam, Clyde, what do you think? Should we try to turn it or just keep going?
Um, Personally, I would love nothing more than to return it. However, we also angered a bunch of them with that tidal wave. And then you just kind of like glance over to Rowan.
Tidal wave. It was just a normal wave. But I see your
Whatever it was.
Nerem just kind of looks at everyone and just says, I don't think we have a lot of time left. We should just go.
How about this? I take the thing, fly over, plant it where it was, and then fly away. Then we just head on our way. If it follows us, it follows us. If not, well, good for us. Does that
Well,
sound fair?
as far as you're aware, then this would be to the idea that was talked about between yourself, Volus, and with Rowan and also Zorn. You had talked about the idea of if you hadn't gone into the forest, nothing really would have bothered you. It seemed whatever was in that forest was stagnant and was prepared to stay there until acted upon by some outside force, which was you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending upon how you do it, if you maintain yourselves, your speed, and don't bother anything, you should be fine. Should be.
Mm, very well, very well. Never mind. Let's just keep going. Oh no, the giant snake! After many sessions, it's
It,
finally
it,
dead.
it will return, don't worry. But just for the moment, as you guys are passing through this area, just trying to unclutter the screen.
Hmm. It's
So,
yeah. I guess they will keep going then.
alright. Who among you will be trying to maintain the eyesight for this expedition?
Clyde will.
Go ahead and make me a perception check, keeping an eye out on both the forest and the road.
15.
15. Alright. As you're traveling along the coast road and the distant sounds of water crashing amongst the rocks far below you, you keep getting the impending sense that something's watching you. And you're not sure if it's the thing from your cart or if it's something from within the wood.
Mm-hmm.
As you wait and continue watching the areas just on the outskirts of the wood, and your eyes keep flickering over to the road, making sure there's nothing in front of you as Niram is continually driving the cart. Doesn't seem to be anything that's trying to come out at you yet. But you are making good headway. You are keeping your heads down, and you're keeping the cart moving. This would be... Yeah, Volus. Go ahead and make me an Arcana check.
Alright. 25.
Alright. So, to the best essence you can figure, as you are thinking about it, you look about and there seems to be some sort of a small issue here. You're not sure why. It's not like you feel someone watching you, but you feel something. And it feels magic. And not a pure sense of it. It seems like something of a, almost like feeling a wet eyeball on you. And it just makes your skin crawl.
Yeah.
A wet eyeball.
Yeah, it's like,
How very.
you know that feeling when somebody is just staring at you intently
Yes.
Mm,
and you can't see them?
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what I terminalize as a wet eyeball. It's like they're just staring at you, and then evidently after like a few minutes you realize they're staring at you, and they don't look away, and they just keep staring.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the feeling now.
would I be able to try to figure out the cardinal direction?
Keeping your wits about you as you look about. Somewhere to your north. So that's in the direction of the forest.
Hmm. We should probably hurry. We have this feeling we're being watched. Probably the forest is keeping an eye on us. If not, something definitely is. And just looks between like Narum and Glide.
Naram just kind of
Right.
looks at the forest and goes, "Come on, really? We're already, like, trying to not disturb y'all."
God would blink a few times, being like, let's
Yeah,
just keep going.
Narum, I don't think the forest can.
Near as you speak out to the forest, you hear what sounds like a crow. Ha! And it looks at you, and you look up into the branch, and it's just staring back at you.
Yeah, very funny. Let's just move on.
Clyde's gonna squawk back at the bird.
You squawk at it, and it looks at you and kind of jumps a little bit.
That's right, you better jump.
Yeah. The true crow, Clyde.
They evaded death by jumping. By a hair's breadth. Like, at this point, I feel like everyone in our party is just so sick and tired of random bullshit happening on their journey.
Mm.
Random
Let's try
bullshit
not
or
to
not.
die.
You make good headway. It really doesn't seem like anything in this forest is coming out purposefully to get in your way. It just seems like the impending sense of whatever the hell you last ran into here is still just crawling across your skin.
Mm-hmm. Do we see any eyes following us?
Make me a perception check.
I don't know why I put my D20 back in the bag, but I did, and now I have to fish
Taking
it
out
out.
your putting away your dice during D&D.
I got a 10.
I got a 10.
Well, it was with bonus, so
Okay.
my brain was like, okay, wait, it's this,
Math.
but with
As you're
bonus, yeah. So
staring about, you don't see eyes. You do see in the shade of some of the thicker leaved branches, it looks to be candlelight. Very, very soft candlelight that's just hanging about.
and that's where the
Effigies.
Now,
yes,
the effigies
that.
were much further into the wood.
Mm-hmm.
These are on the outskirts of the trees, hiding amongst the thick branches. You're not sure what they are, if they're an effigy or not.
Mm-hmm.
But as your travel continues and the sun gets both higher and then lower as time progresses, I'm sorry, the light coming from those candles are becoming more and more prominent, even as you get further and further away from this neck of the wood.
Okay, I'm back.
Eventually, as it
Welcome
becomes dark, just as you're hitting the tail end of the forest, you guys have the smell of wet dog and blood.
The smell of wet dog and blood. Ew.
That's not very tasty, I'll admit.
You do know what it tastes like?
No, but I can smell with my nose. Doesn't smell tasty.
Huh.
Well put. Well put. As you pass by, you kind of follow your nose a little bit and you stare off. And just about almost 150 feet away from you, standing on the edge of the wood, is a cloaked figure, somewhat familiar to you, fellas. The
Oh.
figure itself looks to be that of a gnoll. Perhaps the same gnoll you had run into earlier. You see the long staff of what looks to be some sort of either prayer staff or just quarter staff. And you see this gnoll is leaning on it rather heavily. You can't see much about them in the dark, especially at this far, but you do see their figure. And there's a soft illumination behind them from candlelight.
Their cart stopped, right? Or is it still going?
No, you guys are still going. As far as I'm aware, you didn't want to stop here.
Hmm. Hey, you two. That nose right there.
And Rowan looks back over and looks at you. You mean the one we fucked with?
What
Or the one
other?
that talked to us?
The one that talked to us, I believe.
I'm
Wait a minute.
sorry, no.
So you're saying he's... If that's the one that talked to us, maybe he knows how to get this fucking thing off of us. I mean, or even off of our cart. It's just an idea.
I mean, I can approach them.
You guys are already on your way off.
Hmm.
You know, we could also just leave them be.
Yes, but we probably still have the thing on us.
Rowan will look back at you. Where's the fun in that?
Might
Keep-
start stealing your bread at night.
Naren looks at Rowan, just completely exasperated by that statement, going, "Do you really think we're still doing this for fun?"
No, but it was worth a shot.
Plus, what if it starts stealing stuff? I know you'd be pissed if it starts stealing your bread, wouldn't it, Rowan?
I don't have enough bread for it to steal. So we better get to another town quickly.
And we'll probably find a cleric, someone else who can get this, like, get rid of that.
And what was that place we visited in Port Ivy? The tower.
I probably know what to do.
Who is that goddess? The people who were wearing all those translucent white robes. The nudes.
You mean the Order of Cledros? No.
No,
wasn't it?
Pledros was that other high elf lady, the really pretty one.
Wasn't that the Order of Soon or something?
I think no. The one who we spoke to with the Goliath, the woman.
Mistress Colleen? No. Chamber Keeper, Corral. Trying to remember. Any names?
It was the Chamber Keeper. That was the female Goliath. But yeah, maybe they know how to do it. I mean, perhaps one of them might find a beauty in curses. Whatever the fuck that means.
An odd statement, but an interesting one nevertheless.
Agreed.
I do gotta be right back for 1 minute.
I'm sorry. And eventually, Zoram kind of pipes up a little bit and speaks in Draconic here. I don't want him to understand what I'm saying here, but perhaps he might actually have some semblance of thought. Perhaps his thought isn't too far off. Finding a cleric might be a good idea. I just didn't want him to know that. Rowan looks over at him. You were talking about me, weren't you? Oh, no, certainly not. Why would I ever speak of you? You're a detriment.
Wow, okay.
Well, a detriment in the case of bread. Let's just say that normally when there's a bakery, sure you provide service, but you're a detriment to the amount of people who can have bread. So? What do you mean, so? Do you know how many people rely upon bread? Yeah, I do.
Ron, did you ever consider that you're not the only person on this frickin' earth?
No, not really. Sometimes I think the stars revolve around me. I could be the god of bread.
Clyde would blink for a couple of seconds and just being like, "What?"
Nerem just like grabs Roan by the shoulder, goes, well then, your holy yeastiness, I hope, no one comes along and eats you up.
Rowan looks at you and, you're damn right. Believe it or not, I don't think he understood your sarcasm.
No, I don't think so either.
But as the cart continues along and night begins to fall, you do see along the road there looks to be a small traveling party ahead of you, maybe about a mile or so, and you see the light coming from a set of lanterns and torches that is following the road. It could be a patrol, but you see it is coming in your direction as you're traveling up the road towards Millstone.
I return.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
What I miss?
Yes.
Rowan was called a detriment and then called himself a god of bread. So not much.
The usual. Got it.
Yeah, the usual. So. But you also see ahead of you, maybe about a mile or so, as night is falling and it's getting darker, it's easier to see light. You do see that ahead of you there seems to be a traveling party, maybe only about 4 people, and they all seem to be mounted on horseback. And they are coming in your direction.
Be on your guard, lads. As well says the sage, does at least, I guess, straighten up a bit.
Okay. You straighten yourself somewhat, and it is getting time for you guys to stop. Like, it's getting pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, you do hear the sound of horse hooves and horseshoes hitting cobbled stone. The passing group files out into a long column. And they pass by and they don't really give you guys a sidelong glance. They just keep facing forward and ride past. Looking at them as they ride past, you see that they are decorated in some form of a heavy chainmail. Helmets dangle from the long saddle and the heavy leather made from it. Each of these, you see there's men and women in this traveling troop, even only 4 of them. There looks to be 1 woman and 3 men. The woman looks to be more decorated. You can see a fine strand of what looks to be some sort of red and gold wire that seems to snake its way through her chainmail. But they are traveling northward, north and east, in the direction you were coming from.
So it's a woman traveling with her guard.
Perhaps.
Would it be possible, since they are walking, I guess, parallel to us, would it be able to, would we be able to notice any insignias?
Make a perception check, actually.
16.
Okay. And Vullis?
19.
19. Looking at the armor that they wear and the adornments that they wear as well, it's not actually on their armor. However, you do see it plastered upon what seems to be some sort of a... you're not sure if it's a bedroll or some sort of large tarp. It looks very weird. But you see the emblem of what seems to be some sort of a thorned crown with a sword going through the top of it.
That wouldn't be Port Ivy's insignia, would it?
No.
No. Hmm. Let's see. If they are coming from, say, Millstone towards White Ridge, if we're following that pathing,
Mm-hmm.
could be and they're not from Port Ivy. Maybe they're from Holbeck, Lancer Coast, or Sharefield.
Lanner. It's the Lanner Coast.
Lancer Coast.
But this is the King's Road, highlighted in white.
Hmm.
And they are following it just as you are following it as well. And it travels all the way up the Kamya provinces. In doing so, it essentially creates a lifeline for the entirety of the kingdoms that live here. The only reason that it is still alive is because of the King's the King's Highway, or at least the King's Road.
Hmm.
King's Highway and King's Road are somewhat interchangeable here. But it goes all the way up from the north towards Marin's Eve, down south to Durnatel and Holbeck. It connects nearly everywhere except maybe Rivermouth. But
And
Rivermouth uses... Yeah. No, Leonard Coast is still there.
oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see. Most of the roads connected to the King's Causeway, or sorry, the King's Highway, I keep looking at the causeway and I keep wanting to say that. But with the King's Highway, most of the main roads that connect it to any village and or town of any notable respect that has been marked on a map has a cobbled road that is protected and guarded leading to it.
Hmm.
It might be for some important reason, it might not, like Quincy over here in Windwall. Both of those villages and towns have a direct road leading to it that is cobbled stone and guarded. Why? Nobody knows. Well, at least you don't. But there's reasoning for it. At the moment, if you wanted to ask where these people are coming from, they could either be from the north with Leonard Coast and somewhere in the Balgriff Highlands, or they could be down to the south from somewhere in Timber Greens or even to the Emerald Vale, which is now flooded with water from the last time you guys were there.
Ah, yes. This whole area here is just flooded, right?
Now, the area in this area, the entire emerald veil and emerald plain is just swallowed with water. It's become a bowl of water because of what the drow did.
I suppose at some point they'll call it the Emerald Lake.
Who knows? Maybe you could pay somebody to make a map that says the Emerald Lake. Who knows? Maybe it'll catch on. But at the moment, as you're traveling past them, you don't really see too much of an insignia on them. They seem to be traveling relatively plain. Whether they're cell swords or not, you're unsure.
I guess the most reasonable thing is just offer a passing wave just before it gets finding a place to camp.
You offer the wave, and the guard at the tail end, or at least what you assume is a guard, puts their hand up and waves back to you somewhat offhandedly and continues on their path. I will have... who wants to go ahead and try and search for somewhere safe to pull over? Or are you guys just going to pull over to the side of the road set up camp?
And I guess I shall.
I'll do it.
Okay. Well, Volus and Clyde, you guys can either make a survival check independently, or you can make one at advantage.
Well, I just got a nat 1.
I got
So-
18.
Clyde, you find yourself completely zonked out. You are snoring in the back of the cart.
So me in real life, got it.
Yeah, you in
Oh.
real life at the moment. But Volus, as you keep an eye out, you do see what looks to be a very fine mouth of some dip of what looks to be a small, almost like a bear den. Not a full cave, but something that is essentially a small lip of a hollowed out piece of a hill. And you do see the remnants of bits and pieces of fires and other such things, as caravans have stopped here previously.
Well, who's going to be taking first watch? I want to try to make some potions before I head to sleep.
Zoram will do it.
And
He'll put his
Nerm
hand up.
will assist.
All right.
Yeah.
And then second watch will be Rowan as he's nibbling on his last pieces of bread.
Let me
So, I will have you go ahead and make me I will say Arcana check, Volus, for your potion making. What potions are you trying to make?
Let's see. Granted, with the amount of herbs I have. Oh God, I still have a lot. Maybe a mix between some healing potions and.
You have 8 hours, or more importantly, you have 4, because you need a long rest.
How many?
You can, in the span of 4 hours, depending upon how good at potion making you are, you could make 1 good potion, or you can make 2 really small potions. Choice is yours.
Okay. With the amount of materials I currently have, and I'm going by what the listings are, I'm going to make 2 small potions. One that is a anti-poison, and the second one is a pure hallucinogenic.
You're making drugs. Okay. Go ahead and... all right, Mr. White, go ahead and make me a... this will be an Arcana check.
Starting off strong today.
Oh God!
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons, where people cook up drugs and other such potions just to make themselves feel better.
What? Narum, you should not have said that. I got a 19 plus 8.
Oh, lovely.
7.
Over the course of the 4 hours, it is very easy to manufacture these potions. Using the supplies you have on hand, you very quickly make a small antitoxin. And it's a general antitoxin, not something focused, so it couldn't deal with something like a demon's curse, but it could certainly deal with something that a creature tried to poison you with. And the second thing you make, you throw in a couple of mushrooms, put in some lemongrass for smelling and taste, and grind a little pinch of salt. And by the end of it, you have what almost looks to be a very brackish gray liquid.
I need to remove the fox's root because I was using those as the main bait.
The fox paw. It's fox paw, not fox root. It's fox paw. Yeah, it's a fox paw root that is normally used for hallucinogenics.
I see.
That's probably why you put fox root. It's fox paw root.
Tasty.
Oh, it's a very lucrative trade for the pirates. You guys know that because when you were originally over at the pirate island, you guys actually ran into a shitload of this stuff. It was in everything. It was in crates, it was in barrels, and it was growing everywhere.
I regret not stealing some. Holy fuck.
It was in the crates, it was in the barrels, it was in your food. Oops. Wait.
Oops. That explains why you started a riot. Anyway.
Oh, God, don't get me started with that.
But anyway, as you are continuing on, you guys do know you have about another 4 hours travel until you're at Millstone. But for the moment, I need Niram. You and Zoram can go ahead and make me a perception check. You can either do it independently or Zoram can give you advantage.
I would like to do it independently.
Okay,
actually.
Understood.
I also remembered. Before Volus heads to sleep, can you make sure that the barrels of ale and wine are secure?
Yeah, they're as secure as they can be, yeah.
All right.
You can go over and just make sure the lids are still on securely, make sure that the stopped corks haven't been removed, and barrels are still fine.
All right.
Drugs and alcohol, totally safe.
Yeah.
Niram,
Good
what
mix.
did you...
I got an 18.
18.
Perception.
Very nice. Throughout the night, it is relatively quiet. However, you keep on hearing something. It almost sounds like grinding metal that needs to be oiled. And it sounds like it's something that's moving, almost like a doll that's moving around outside. And it just keeps on disturbing you. You're not sure what it is, but you just keep hearing it, because every time you think it's something else, you'll look away and try and distract yourself with the stars in the night sky, and then you'll hear it once again, and you hear it moving off to your right. You'll look over. And I'm pretty sure there's something in the dark here that's just screwing around with you.
I mean, Naram's just going to pass that info along to Zoram and later on to Rowan when he takes over the guard.
Okay. You let Zoram know about it as he takes over the watch and looks over. Those of you who are sleeping, I need you to go ahead and make me a wisdom check.
I got 15.
Okay. As you're sleeping, Volus, you and Clyde are hounded by... You're not sure if they're dreams or nightmares of crows and ravens, surrounded by dark woods and a thick mist that you can barely see through. And it stops you from having a true long rest. However, all of your hit points are returned, but you do not regain your spells.
I see.
Niram, you don't have to deal with that on the first watch, but on the second watch, I need you to go ahead and make me a wisdom check.
All right. That is an 8. Lovely.
8. You are tossing and turning all night. There's something keeping you awake. All of your hit points are returned, but there's something about it has left you feeling more exhausted than than if you had stayed awake.
All right, let me jot that down.
You're not exhausted. I'm just
Okay,
just so there's no confusion. You're not exhausted. It's just the mental feeling of being exhausted
Okay,
because you've been tossing and turning all night.
yeah. So it's
Just
not
so there's
full
no
exhaustion.
confusion there.
It's
not
just
full exhaustion. It's just a feeling of
yeah,
it.
something's off.
Eh. Well, heck, I should have made a sleep potion. No, I'm kidding.
Sleep potion? That's Niram's idea of a blackjack just hitting you over the head. It's like, oh, you need to sleep? Whack.
Depends on how much I like the other person. Like if he doesn't like them, he just he doesn't go easy on them.
You have a sleep potion, and once you run out of the sleep potions, you have a sleep stick, which is just a solid rock attached to a handle.
I mean, I do have a club.
Yeah, exactly. It's the sleep stick. But yeah. As Zoran takes watch, even he realizes there's something out there. But whatever it is, it just keeps on distracting him. It's not whatever it is. It's not trying to be detrimental to you. It's just trying to stop you from having any relaxation. It's trying to crowd your mind. It's trying to disturb you. And as it becomes Rowan's turn on the watch, he's just too bothered by it. He can't really keep a good watch out. But by morning's dawn, you all awaken from your unhappy sleeps. And remount to your cart, nibbling on your bits and pieces of rations, and set off. Eventually, upon doing so with those 4 hours, you reach Millstone, the familiar large river that cuts a deep gouge into the hills, leading up into Millstone. You see the tall towers and spiring mills that currently wave and creak and groan, grinding flour and other such materials. As you enter once again into the layered town that is Millstone, you're once again amongst the high terraces of their stone buildings. As you travel through it, people here seem to be going about their daily lives, nothing too important. But you do see that there seems to be something new in addition to the town. There looks to be some sort of a creature dangling from a noose left just out of town. The creature is not something any of you have seen before. It has a very pearl white skin. Its flesh is cratered and pockmarked with bits and pieces of stretched flesh that look to be divoted, and what should have been smooth is rough and coarse. No mouth, covered in flesh of the same color, but stretched upon its jaw that should be there. You see 2 large eyes that look to be slit, much like that of an almond shape. And no ears, just a smooth gray head. And you see it is dangling from a noose, and it is unmoving, and it looks like it's been there for about 2-3 days.
Should we stop here for supplies or just keep going? As Valis says this, he does check how many rations like we have at if we're running low or something like that.
No, we
you guys would have, as Niram would know, You guys have enough rations for the entire trip there and back. You purchased
Yeah,
enough.
we still have 32 days worth of rations,
Yeah, you
but
guys are
like
doing
for
perfectly
one
fine.
person. So if we split it up between the 5 people that we are, just had to recount. Yeah, we're 5 people. We still have 6 days worth and a bit. So that's plenty.
You guys should be able to reach Port Ivy in about the next 4 days. Because, one, you're traveling along a guarded road, so you don't really have to worry about too much. But if you guys wanted to hold up in Millstone, you could. I mean, it's still the middle of the day. Like, you've only been traveling for 4 hours, so it's just about, because you guys get up at just about 7 o'clock and get on the road. So it's about 11, so it's not even midday. You guys could keep moving.
There's 2 questions. One, does Volus remember if Millstone had any alchemical shops?
No, Millstone has no alchemical things at all. It is a milling town, quite literally.
Does it have any sort of place to sell bread?
Sell bread? Not really. This place just focuses on making grain and sending it out.
All right.
If you have
Oh.
grain or any material that needs to be ground into a fine powder or even a coarse powder, you send it here. They have no blacksmiths. They have no weapon shops. They have a couple of tool manufacturers, but that's because they buy them off of traveling merchants. You would have seen this as you would pass through the town earlier.
All right. Never mind then. Actually, there's something I do want to do, but I'll save it for the next time we stop for the day.
Okay. So you guys are continuing?
Yeah.
Okay. Since it was a short distance, I didn't have you guys roll a perception check, but this time I will. As you guys are now traveling, it's going to be about another 5 hours to get to Oldham. So who would like to take the perception check there?
If no one does, I will.
All right. Shit.
I got
All right.
a 12.
Okay. In doing so, as you keep an eye out for what's going on, you do realize that the further south you go, the greener and greener things are getting. You see beautiful trees, the grass fields and plains that immediately just sprawl out and across. To your west, you do see the large hills that give rise to the quasi-mountains that continue up towards the Balgriff Highlands. But most of the ground around here to your south is flat plains of grass, and it's beautiful. As you continue along, you can see for quite literally miles, even with the tall grass that surrounds this place. Eventually, as you pass by, just outside of Oldham, there is a large towering gatehouse that looks to house one of the usual guard remnants of the King's Road garrison. And you do see they're having a usual bonfire of bodies. You see it looks to be they're burning what looks to be a couple of goblins and a few gnolls. But they wave you on as you pass by.
Is out of curiosity, does it seem a lot more greener since the last time we've been through here, or
No,
is it
it's just since the further north you get, the grayer it gets. It gets much greener the further south you go.
Okay.
And once you get past White Ridge, things start getting real depressing.
something to try to figure out, I see.
Yeah. But upon doing so, after you pass by this gatehouse about an hour later, you reach the outskirts of the village of Oldham. The usual village greets you with the same lackadaisical guard that stands about. Just keeps an eye on you. Looks to be an old man with a spear and some leather armor, if even. And you just pretty much march your way into the town.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep at my desk.
That's fine.
I need to go take a nap. I'm so sorry.
Hey, it's all right, Ho. Go take care of yourself, really. Just
All right, take
take
care,
care of
guys.
yourself, okay?
Good luck with the rest of the game. Please keep me.
We'll let you know
updated
if you
on
miss
how
the
it goes.
combat.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Anyways, time to cast
Anyway.
Fireball. No, I'm kidding.
Fireball, send it on myself. All right. But entering into Oldham, it's actually a rather tightly packed village. In and of itself, you see it is surrounded by acres of farmland. A very low-cut stone wall, just about chest height, is prominent around the village. Other than that, there's no significant features. There is a small shrine that looks to be dedicated to some sort of god. But other than that, it really just seems to be like every other village.
Hmm. Great. I wish to
Yes.
ask the same questions as I did before about the bakery and alchemical place.
Same questions? No. This is just a village. There's nothing alchemical here. I mean, they might have a local, I can't even think of it, herbalist, but that's about it. Like, there's no alchemical shit. And, I mean, you're looking for a city for something like that. A
Okay.
village or town won't have anything alchemical. They might have herbalists to do local remedies and shit, but there just wouldn't be anything, or just this, the amount of supplies required to do alchemical experiments is not something a village has.
All right. I understand. What about a place to buy bread?
Bread, yeah, Oldham is like any other village. You should be a place to buy bread here.
Can I
And
go and buy
you
some
won't even
bread?
need to worry about that. I mean, your question is already lost as Rowan is gone. Everywhere you guys are, everywhere you guys are stopping, he's already like a bloodhound. He's sniffing it out.
I want to go actually try to find a shop to just buy some bread.
All right, you're gonna try and find a shop, buy some bread. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
too hard. You find a small, it's essentially a little run-of-the-mill shop. It's a general store. It's run by a relatively old man with a thick set of mutton chops that streak white and gray down across his cheeks, a fat button nose that glows red, a very jovial looking man. He greets you with a somewhat squinted eye smile. Welcome, newcomer. What can we do for you?
Oh, that was just Bob. Greetings. I would like to procure some bread for the road, if you mind.
Oh, we got some hardtack, and we also got some other things. So if you're looking for it, we could certainly supply you with it.
Mm, fresh bread will do.
Oh, some fresh bread. Oh, I can see what I can do for you. Give me a few minutes, please.
Mm.
He heads out, comes back maybe about 10 minutes later with a loaf of bread. Oh, it's about as fresh as I could get it. So, here you go. It'll be 2 copper pieces for the full loaf.
He does give the 2 copper pieces.
You can give it to him, and he hands you the loaf. Is there anything else we can get for you?
No, that'll be all. Thank you, though.
And he smiles, and you still see the red button nose that he has. He nods and waves you off. As you return back to the cart with your 1 loaf of bread intact, you see Rowan returning. And he has an armful of stacked bread.
Mm. I want to do something real quick.
Oh
As like
god.
once we continue traveling,
Okay.
um, once we start leaving the town, I want to see. I would like to try to slip some of the hallucinogenic potion into his bread.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Make me sleight of hand check. You're fucking with his bread, man.
We've had him hopped up on bread. We've had him hopped up on sugar. Let's have him hopped up on fucking drugs.
Got a critical 24.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he rolled
God.
a 2, so
Oh no.
as Rowan is carrying his bread over, it's covering his face as he's carrying it. And you simply walk over and pull off the cork and just pour it all over his bread. And eventually he's like, huh, must be raining. And goes over and drops his bread into his sack and sits down in the cart and grabs a piece and, the hell is that smell? Whatever. Tears a piece of it off and shoves it into his mouth. That's an 8 on a con save.
Uh-oh.
He just sits there snacking on it for a moment. You just see him staring at his hand. He waves it back and forth and then flips it around. He's staring at it. You see him twitching his fingers. What the hell? You see him bring up his other hand and you see his eyes go wide. What the fuck? And Curly just sees he's staring at what looks to be some sort of intricacy on his hands, or even you're not sure what he's hallucinating, but you just see he's staring at his hands. He looks at the bread, looks at his hands, he's back at the bread, and picks up another piece, nibbles on it again.
Lovely.
Yeah. So as you guys take off, you currently have Rowan in the backseat, who's currently blasted out of his gourd, just sitting there, his eyes wide open, his back against the cart. He's currently trying to keep himself from drooping down, as he's just staring out with his bewildered and wild-eyed look.
Hey, at least he's only dissociating and not going berserk.
Oh my.
Oh, you don't know what he's hallucinating about.
Well, he isn't
That's the
flailing about,
problem.
is he?
Nope.
So Roll kind of goes up to the front of the car, assuming Nair's driving. Is just like, well, did not think he was that strong. He's saying this in the quietest way possible.
Naram just looks at Valis, looks over at Rowan, looks back to Valis and just goes, I don't know what you've given him. I don't know what you've mixed in, but as long as it keeps him shut, fuck it. Sure. Just,
I am the god of bread.
I think this will be a smooth travel for the rest of the trip. Hopefully.
well, either it's going to be smooth sailing, or, you know, he's going to start throwing out the worst slurs you've heard ever. But that's a 50-50 I'm willing to take.
Indeed. Let's head to Port Ivy as quick as possible, though. I do want to try to see if there's anything interesting about one of the fruits we gained from that forest.
Right. So, the rest of your travels from Oldham to Sudfield, then Sharefield and Ainwick, because Alnwick is further north. It's smooth travels, and you guys know these roads pretty well. You've traveled them enough. So I won't have you guys go ahead and worry about needing to do too much about that, as the roads are protected. So, as the 4 days slowly crawl by, Rowan, it's quite fantastical how quiet he is. You just every once in a while hear him mumbling something. And he'll start drooling, and he'll suck it back into his mouth and start mumbling again.
Okay, now I have a logistical question.
Yes. Answer.
Does the bread count as a ration?
For him, yes.
Okay, that's good. Then I can re-add 4 of the rations because I crossed off 20.
Understood.
That's good. We still have 16 rations left over, which would be enough for 4 days of travel, given that Rowan supplies himself.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
So, as he just sits there, still high off of his ass, eventually the tall, thick gray walls of Port Ivy and the familiar smell of sea salt immediately comes out and greets you. You do see that in front of the city is the usual mercantile mess. Clusters and clumps of merchants and other such individuals trying to get into the city, as you see the usual guard of Port Ivy dressed in their brass chest plate with their long blue tunic underneath it. Eventually, as you get up to the gates, the guards look at you and seem to have some recognition. Your toll, please. 2 copper pieces.
Uh,
That's
well, it's
easily
just
taken care of.
Yeah.
Now I'm just...
Take out the pieces and put it in the guard's hand.
Yep.
As you stroll your way through and enter once again into the great city gates of Port Ivy, you are once again greeted by the familiar sight of the long rows of buildings and houses that just immediately crawl into the sky here. Buildings find themselves 2 to 3 stories tall, made of wood and stone. You see the tall spires of what look to be big, almost what you could almost equate as some sort of godly spire. One that you're familiar with. A tower of black and red stone. One that finally looks to be somewhat refused with its old being.
Okay. And Nerdum,
Mm-hmm.
should I go deliver the medicine towards, well, our audacious friend? We'll probably need to put Rowan in the tavern or something.
Yeah, don't worry about that too much. You go deliver the medicine and regale them our stories, I suppose, so they know why the fuck we took so long. Meanwhile, I'm gonna get us figured out.
All right. I believe Volus has the medicine, right? Or was it someone else?
Yeah, well, the medicine was handed to Niram, and then Niram handed it to you. So yeah.
All right. With that, Volus is gonna cast flight to try to get to the place as quick as possible, because they are still on a freaking
People hate it when you fly in this city.
They've been safe for months, and then suddenly this asshole comes back and just starts flying through the sky again.
Look, I haven't been shot down yet. I only the one time.
It's only a matter of time.
I know.
Like someone's gonna be pissed. Someone's gonna be pissed off enough to just pick up archery, like get really good at shooting at distant targets and shoot you down out of pure disdain.
Just out of spite.
All right. As you fly over the city, the buildings and rooftops flying underneath you, you sail past and once again get to the gates leading into the high tops of the city. If you want, you can sail over the gate, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I will not do that.
You land on the ground before the gate, and the guards kind of look at each other and look back at you. They know who you are. You've been around here enough. They back out of the way and open the gate for you. And you enter into the high tops and the usual very fine ground and other fine accoutrements that display themselves, beds of flowers on other such fine benches that reside themselves in the higher portions of the city. Looking over and beyond, you do see dangling off of one of the portions of the tall wall, looks to be the Queen's Eye. A familiar place to you, a very fine establishment. You look over and do see and note the usual fortress overbearing the cliff top of the southern portion of Port Ivy as you maneuver your way over towards the building attached to it, the estate of Lord Brokenridge. Upon doing so, you make it to the tertiary walls that gate themselves out from this community. And once again, you are not greeted here by the city guard, except by Brokenridge's personal guard. Men denoted in fine tunics of red and black, their armor a very faint dark gray, plastered in bits of chainmail that dangle off of them in a fine spired helmet. As you enter by them, you do see that there are a couple of nobles waiting out front of the gate, which you find a bit weird. Normally there isn't this amount of a cluster. But eventually, waiting your turn, you are allowed through as the guard recognize you. Now, you guys do still have that signet ring he gave you, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
We should.
So you would be able to. You'd be able to flash that, and you wouldn't have actually had to pay the toll into the city.
No, we just did it. Like, Naren would have done it anyways.
No, I get that. I'm just saying for the sake of consistency. It's
Prob-
if you brandish the ring, it's the idea that you brandish it, you are under Lord
Yeah.
Brokenridge and you work for
Yeah,
him.
we're in his employ.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just flashes them the signet ring. And
The guard catches it and looks at it, hands it back to you and allows you in. In doing so, once again, you realize the grounds are now finally clear of the destroyed tower. The once proud structure of the observation tower that allowed the view from the fortress down into the city from a very refined and comfortable view that had such crashed into the gardens below due to the nature of the attack from the drow. As you see, it's finally been picked up, though the tower itself is still being rebuilt from where it had been struck down. In doing so, you return to the front long entrance to the estate. The almost pantheon-like design to this long, almost gazebo that leads into the front of this estate. The fine columns designed in a very Corinth pattern. The usual half-elven woman, long, flowing blonde hair and beautiful blue eyes, stunningly shaped an almond with the long, dagger-shaped ears behind her. And she greets you with a smile. Welcome back. I don't suppose you have returned for the nature of work you were sent upon.
we have what was requested of us. So I would like to have an audience with Lord Brokenridge if that is possible.
She nods. Uh, it's glad. I'm very glad that you come at this time. Believe it or not, the Lord has actually found himself in a bit of an upturn, and perhaps this medicine itself might be able to cure him fully. So another boon upon you and this city. And she smiles.
Of course. His health means a lot towards our group that works under him. So let us hope that this medicine that took quite the time to procure is well worth the trip.
She would nod. Oh, I completely understand that, as I hope too. My best well wishes go with you. Please, come inside.
With that, Wallace silently enters the.
She brings you into the estate. The fine doors open loudly as they scrape upon the floor. As you walk in, your boots clatter upon the stone floor, paved very finely. You walk into the familiar, ginormous ballroom. Once, as you remember, filled with the dead and dying of some of the guards who were still trying to face off those creatures who had invaded with Drow, along with fighting the fires that had sprung from it. You see, the ballroom has now finally been returned to its once placid glory. And it brings a smile to your face to know that things are finally trying to become normal once again. In doing so, as you are led by the very fine half-elf, you are brought to the third story, belonging to the office of Lord Brokenridge. There's a knock and the study's doors are open. You enter in, and Lord Brokenridge and his wife are currently in discussion with a man you find somewhat familiar. A tall, brooding man with a balding head and gray hair. A thick beard, taut in many battle braids, in armor denoted in rust and dried blood. A fine wolf pelt mixed with that of other creatures, bits of bear, and what almost looks to be the feathers of some sort of creature. You're not sure if it's an eagle or not, but you do see as they denote a very fine cape that sprawls from his back down to his boots. As the door swings open and you enter with the half-elf who stays outside, you see as Lord Brokenridge looks over to you, and he does look still sickly. The usual broad red color of his face still paled in comparison to his usual power. And you see the smile that crawls across his face, as you do see he is dressed rather statically. The tunic is comfortable, but you do see it's not something a usual lord should wear. But the man who has been brought before him looks before him back at you, looks back at Brokenridge. Brokenridge nods and waves him off. We shall continue this discussion at another time. Come back in about an hour, for then we shall be able to discuss fully as to what is required. See, the man looks back at Brokenridge and nods and gives a respectful bow and walks off.
By this time, Velas does approach once the man completely leaves, and does dip his head in a decent respect.
He puts a hand up. There is no need for that between yourself and I. So, I believe there is something that brings you here. You would not be here otherwise. Then you see Lady Brokenridge. Yes, dear. Remember they sent out for the medicine you require. And you see Lord Brokenridge has a pained expression. Oh yes, I apologize for forgetting.
It has taken us a long time to traverse to acquire this medicine. So I do hope that this does bring good results to your health, Lord Brokenridge. And
As I hope as well. But it seems whatever has grasped hold of me has been lessening itself. And you see as he's speaking to you, his wife is writing something down. Looks innocent enough. But please, they're always welcome to have your company. Is your party around? Are the rest of the champions here?
they are within the city. They are just having some rest. We came across some rather cryptic things along the roads of it takes a moment to recall the name. Um, along the roads near between White Ridge and Millstone. So we they just thought to go to the nearest tavern.
Well, Nerem, at some point, I suppose Nerem, Zoram, and Clyde will make their way towards the fortress. It's just,
Okay.
of course, they have to get situated, organize a room, get Rowan to actually,
It's
lie down. and
easy enough.
everything.
You guys have been in this city for a while, so you guys know the ins and outs.
Yeah, it's
So
just
it doesn't take
like,
more than about 2 hours.
I was about to say we'd probably be arriving later.
Yeah, it would take you guys about 2 hours to do all that sort of all that sort of preparation work.
They should be arriving shortly. I've just come ahead to deliver the medicine. And with that, Boris does pull out the bottle that the medicine was in.
The fine dryad wood as you hand it over to Lord Brokenridge. He takes it and looks down at the bottle. And just feels it. I thank you very much for this. I do not think you understand just how much it means to me that you have done this.
Of course. If it meant going to another realm to acquire this medicine, then it's well worth the
I
trouble.
have heard that things to the north are a bit weird when it comes to the forest. And he gently removes the lid and just kind of brings it up and smells it very gently. Ugh. It smells like flowers. Very repugnant flowers at that. Ugh.
As they say, the best medicine usually does not have the best sense. At least most of
If
the
it
time.
is coming from somewhere known for its magic, at least I could make it taste good. And he swirls it around a little bit and puts it up to his lips and starts drinking as Lady Brokenridge hands you a letter.
Yeah.
The letter itself, you can read Elvish, yes?
Yeah.
It's written in Elvish. And as it reads out, it says that they need to speak with you and the party urgently. Maintain the sense of casual talk from completing this, but he needs to speak with you privately.
All right.
Eventually, Lord Brokenridge stops drinking. It tastes like salt water. What did you do with this? Tastes like it was made by a rock. My compliments to whoever has made this medicine, if you could call it that. And puts it down on the desk. And even as he's only just drank it, you do see over the course of the next few minutes, you do see as the complexion starts returning to his face. The red starts coming out a lot more vibrantly. And it's actually a very quick reaction. Not something you would expect.
Well, if I may, Lord Brockenridge, by the looks of it, I think the taste was well to bear. It looks like you're feeling better already, if I might say so.
Well, to bear is a different statement entirely. Well, let's just wait for your companions. Please, sit. Allow us to talk. Or at least, if you would wish, I can continue my conversation with my compatriot outside. And you can wait while your champions return.
Whatever suits you best, Lord Brockenridge. I think I think you talking to your other wolf-skinned companion would be more suited, at least until the other champions return.
Kind of scratches the back of his head. The only other wolf-pelted warrior I would know would be the Lord of Lingmel. And he is a stoic bastard. These ones at least are a little bit personable.
Ah, I see. Well, to that, either way, I shall either wait for the others to arrive or go seek them out myself. I know that they are all within the city at least, and possibly going to rest or to gather.
Well, when you head out the door, please send him back in. After that, we shall discuss this on end about what payments you require for doing such a thing for my own health. I thank you again.
Is it the least we can do? And with that, Velas does turn to leave.
Right. You leave and open the door, and you notion the other guy back in, who walks heavily as his studded boots clatter upon the stone floors.
I guess Velas does look at the letter. It's towards us, right?
No, it was written to the ghost in the... Yes, it was written to you.
I'm sorry.
Yes, us, the ghosts of Christmas past.
Yeah. So
yes.
the note she handed me, that was meant for us, right? Like, no, that was meant for the ghost of Christmas past. Jesus Christ. Yes!
It would have been funnier if you said it was for the effigy. Oh god. I guess well, it's just kind of I reads it and whilst going out to try to look for Nadarim and everyone else, because Volus would have the signet ring, so getting in would be a little bit helpful in their case.
All right. So you exit yourself out. Back into the city. In doing so, as you make your way back out, the guards, once again, they hold no reserves for you. They allow you through. And it's actually pleasant. Even though you still have bad memories of once this place being under attack and perhaps even worse, you do find yourself rather comfortable once again to return to a familiar place. That might not be your home, but is certainly beneficial to yourself.
Certainly not one to scrounge around.
Eventually, as you walk your way out, it'll take you just about an hour or so to walk down towards where the usual place you guys would stay, which would be the Spoon's Bowl. I still love that name. I don't know why. It kind of makes me feel good.
It's homey. It's like a homey like name.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys had actually stayed at the tavern in, what is it? The tavern in, I think it's Millstone, if I check my notes, has the Tavern of the Lustful Trout.
Oh God. Lustful.
There's a story behind that name, but I wish I could tell it to you. Anyway.
God, the fact I hear the words lustful trout just makes me think of like games paladin. God dang
Oh,
it.
God. The only thing that comes into my head when I hear the words lustful trout is that someone had a very lovely evening after going out fishing.
Oh, no, there's a meme.
Who knows?
Oh God.
But anyway, as you do so, and you stifle yourselves upon this meeting time, Niram, you once again return, putting Rowan to bed, and you start casting yourselves out towards the high tops, trying to get yourselves towards the comforts of talking to Lord Brokenridge once again. And you see the familiar face of Volus walking his way to meet you.
So, how'd it go?
It went well, and by the looks of it, the medicine is starting to recover, but we are needed, all of us are needed at the keep.
All right, well, I suppose we can all make our way except for Rowan. You know, he's kind of
Still high off his ass.
incapacitated right now.
I think he can handle himself for now. Also, I'm gonna put this in memes. For you
Always
guys.
a meme. Always a meme. Always a meme.
But yeah, Valis, since you were at the castle, did you see Ember around anywhere? Oh, Jesus.
Why did I know that was the one you were gonna use?
God.
Just fucking knew it.
It's the first thing that came to mind. I do not recall if I saw her there. I do not recall her being there. All I know is that Lord and Lady Brokenridge are, of course, present. But
Well,
we do rather need to have them for our payments, or at least talk about it.
yeah. Yeah, we should probably go take care of that first thing, right?
Indeed. Kind of look things a moment. We should probably leave Rowan to rest. If anything, I'll just buy him a bunch of bread or buy out one of a bunch of pastries.
I think he can handle himself once he's back up on his feet and he realizes that we're over in Port Ivy now. I think he's going to go over to the bakery. He knows the way well enough.
Yeah, he should be fine, hopefully. But let's get going.
All right. So, Volus, you turning swiftly about to return to the place you just left from, you guys make your way back. And as stated previously, it does take you guys just about an hour to walk from the center of the city, through all the streets, through the traffic, up to the gate to the high tops, wait in line, get through the guards, and then make your way towards past the Queen's Eye and then into the estate area. Once again, you guys do have the signet ring, so you don't need to worry about getting slowed down too much. So things are relatively easy for you to pass by. So, with doing so, as it is done, and you all maneuver yourselves around, eventually returning into the familiar tall gates that align the outside of this fortress. As you make your way into the grounds of the estate, you see the usual flower beds that have been rebuilt, the guards that are stationed upon the walls and within the grounds as well.
I think after this,
Volus, you're cutting out just a little bit.
is this better?
much.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
All right. I don't know why it didn't pick up, but I think after this, I think it's time for all of us to have a good relax. Hopefully. Been quite the time. He, as Velasquez says, as an idle chatter towards, well, those present.
Well, yeah, we should definitely go and rest up after this, but let's go take care of that first. Who knows what will happen?
Indeed.
As you denote yourselves back into the estate as you continue this conversation, eventually you return back to the room, or at least the office of Brokenridge, the large library. And Brokenridge isn't there anymore. You do see his wife is still there. She does point over towards one of the bookshelves, and you kind of understand what she means. And she goes over and pulls one of the books out. You hear the soft pop of the bookshelf popping out. She opens up the secret entrance to Brokenridge's hidden tower and allows you guys to head inside. But a very odd reason, or a very odd thing, is she doesn't enter with you. You guys enter by yourselves.
Check my mic. I was checking my mic, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
So,
Never ceases to amaze me about this place having its little hidden nooks and crannies.
you see Lady Brokenridge shrugs as you pass by her. Eventually, you climb the tall tower, and each step you crawl up, it gets cold. Very oddly cold.
Hmm.
I need to change the music again. 1 second. But upon doing so, as the tower is getting colder, you can actually start feeling your breath and seeing it as well. You ascend the final steps and are once again reached by the trapdoor that has followed up the ladder. You reach up and open the door. As you climb above, you do find Lord Brokenridge in his usual bath, and you smell the salt in the air. Pungent and almost enough to make you gag with how salty it is. And you see Lord Brokenridge's head is currently just slightly above the water, and he looks over towards all of you as each of you enter one by one. Do not be alarmed that my wife does not join us today when we speak.
Of course.
It is not something she need know of. Am I to be clear?
Crystal.
Yeah,
He
Narum
looks
just
over
nods.
the rest of everybody else. You see as Zoram bows respectfully, and Clyde just makes a small motion of sealing their lips. Good. My sickness is not due to any natural involvement, nor any magical one at that. Granted, why we have sent you out was for more of security. You were more of a... Well, we had sent you to get something that was not required. And I shall tell you why for once. I deserve you deserve it much, at least. My Sickness and ailing health has been brought on by my own devices. I have pretended to be sick and caused it, as to be able to hide the truth of what was going on from my wife. The first seal has been broken. To what it seals I cannot tell you, because it would drive you into more questions than it would be worth. The drow have already broken the second one, and are threatening the third. I cannot allow it to happen, so it has forced me to work with them. I sent you on this quest to fetch this medicine as a term of good faith to the drow, as for you to not interfere with our business. However, what they do not know is that I still require you and will use you to belittle their evil plans. I apologize for my lie and how I have treated you at an arm's length for the moment. I hope you can forgive me.
Whilst no doubt that the trust is no doubt a little harmed, I can see why you did this.
Narum just like looks at Valis for a second. You know, sorry.
You see Lord Brokenridge, he understands, he goes silent a little bit as he waits for you.
Well, everyone has their reasons, and they.
Even you and I, and kind of motions Lord Breckenridge to continue falling silent after.
Though I do not appreciate having to work with such evil. I have provided the means to their own downfall with themselves, but also their goal. What their goal is, I do not know, but what they seek is what I do know. They require something. A soul. One that has already died, but been brought back. I have told them where they can find one. And it is only in one place, as it has already been buried, long ago. This place is cold, lost, and full of treachery and evil. You would know this as the Brigade, as the Trovlian Isle. Buried there is a soul, lost to a curse and brought back because of love. And lies dormant there, ready to be used by any ailing power to bring itself back, whether it be godly or otherwise. The drow have already headed there about a week ago. They are not sailing, but walking through the Underdark, the safest passage I have told them for them to go. But the longest. It will take them near 4 weeks to reach any sort of area halfway to get to this soul, and another 4 to make it. If you sail, you can make it there in just about a week and a half. But that would mean that I can still count upon you to provide services for my household. Can I still trust you? And do you still trust me?
Will's just kind of silently looks over to like everyone else, rather saving his own opinion a moment.
You see, Zoram, there isn't much here to be spiteful with you or Brokenridge. We understand the idea of being strong-armed into something you cannot withstand. Drow are evil, and we know you are not. You can see Lord Brokenridge scoff at that. Then you know nothing of me. You see Zoram shrug. We have not seen too much of this evil you speak of, but we have seen the Drow. You still have my services to your household. I do not mind giving them freely. See, Clyde nods as well. Yeah, we went as far as helping you out with the medicine. I wouldn't mind helping you out further. Besides, help us put some dicks in their place.
What say
Brokenridge
you?
nods.
What say you, Neb?
I might not be a smart man. I think such is self-evident. But in my time I've learned one thing. There is no such thing as an absolute good or an absolute evil. Everything is relative, everything is dependent on how you see it. And in this case, it is very obvious to me that you're not acting out of malice. Whatever you do out of conviction. And you do it out of a desire to protect something. That one interaction we had with the Drow proved to me that they don't care for anyone but themselves.
I wish I could listen to your words and find that it comforts me, but I cannot.
Well, maybe with time. But for now, let's
Maybe.
how about we go and mess up some plans? I'm particularly good at that.
He smiles somewhat. Agreed. Well, I will have something known of you before you sail. The brigade are pirates, and not the usual happy-go-lucky and trying to better themselves with gold. No. They are pirates simply only in term. They are treachery incarnate. They will kill you and do so because it makes them smile. Not because you are rich or poor. Where this body or soul is buried, it is in one of the worst kingdoms, if you can call it that, of the brigade. A queen named Gedren. A woman of might, power, and evil. You must do it quickly and quietly, for if she knows you have landed upon her land, I cannot save you. Not with my own army, and not with only magic I might have from the index. You will be truly on your own. And it is a vile and cruel wasteland of ice and stone. The only fertilizer they find is blood. Be cautious. I will do what I can to assist you. Even in my shame, I will try to drag myself from my own pitiful sorrow and help. But it pains me to shove you into such a situation and cause such a uproar.
It is a situation that no one person can bear alone, no matter how much they try. So I guess we should thank you that you trust us so with this task.
You see just a face of prideful sorrow that just comes across his face. And it doesn't look like something that suits him. It twists his face and contorts it into an ugly portrait of what it once was. Until eventually he manages to control himself once again. If you do not retrieve this soul, I will tell you this. Do not return here. The reason I say this is because there will be nothing left for you to return to. Do you understand?
Of course.
I do not think you do. This city, its people, everything will be gone. Destroyed. Do not come back. I say it out of my hope that you'll survive. But as a caution, do not come back if you do not retrieve the soul.
We will go by your word then. And I personally hope we can beat these. They're out to the punch.
I have bought you all the time I can muster. However, it has cost me as well. And you just see as he sinks into the tub and you just see as he fully submerges himself into the salt water.
Looks at us. We should get prepared to sail. I think our ship is still docked. We'll need to probably refit it to suit our needs, but we do not have much time. Looks to everyone else, see if they're all ready to go or not to get ready for this.
Well, nothing like throwing ourselves headlong into a new venture, right?
Pirates till the end. Eventually, we were to return to the sea.
At this point, we're more of a trading company. Let's be
You
honest.
see the concern on Clyde's face. I thought we were mercenaries.
Clyde,
We're anything.
Clyde, I don't think we've ever, have we ever committed an act of piracy?
We kind of turned a town into a firing range.
Oh, come on, that was a bar brawl.
Anything on sea, I think the only thing that we've ever done on sea was see this mysterious ship, but no, we've never committed any act of piracy. We just
See,
called it.
mercenaries and traders until, I don't know, convicted otherwise. Wow. Oh, God.
It's just.
Otherwise, is your German coming out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
Oh God, Nairn was German this whole time. I'll see what money we can pull And I could probably try to get us a few hands to manage the ship.
If you guys remember, you guys do have a ship.
Oh, yeah, we
You
do,
guys
but
still have a friend, and remember, they've been working for Brokenridge. You just don't know what they've been doing.
mm, well, let's get out of here. Don't think we would want to stay seeing Lord Brookeridge in his bathroom much longer.
As you all find yourselves sliding out from the tower, the sense of cold doesn't seem to leave you. Volus, just as you're the last one out, as you turn to leave, you feel a familiar presence. Like a mind within a mind. Go ahead and make me an Arcana check. Say, instead of a disadvantage with a -5.
Disadvantage of minus.
No.
Oh,
Normal roll with a -5 instead of disadvantage.
okay. Dirty 20.
With that, as you think about it, you remember this feeling. You remember feeling it when you initially went into the Emerald Valley with the drow, when the bone was broken and you tried to speak with it. That same presence that you spoke with is here, and you're not sure why.
You Wallace kind of look around a moment. Probably towards the room, and it's just this look of unease coming from him. But he soon sighs. Whatever is what he can assume is watching him, he doesn't care if it's watching him. He knows what he is going to at least try to do. So he does try to make his way out, but that concerning feeling does not leave him.
You make your way out. The rest of them are waiting at the base of the tower as you all exit together. Once again, under the employment of Brokenridge, and once again given a task that could quite literally mean life or death. As you stroll once again through the estate, exiting out and preparing yourselves once again for the manner of which you will be trying to gather your things and quickly make it to this location. Quickly realize you don't really know where this location is, but you do feel the idea that somehow you'll just know. And it's a very weird sensation, Volus. Just makes you shiver somewhat. And Niram, as you walk out of the tower, you actually look down at your hand and you see that the black spot was somewhat retracted. But as you exit the tower, it seems to have finally come back out. It seems the presence of magic was restricting it. You're not sure what it was.
Just shrugs and moves on.
Just wanted to sake of letting you know, now you know.
Yeah.
But with that, as you guys exit out and back into the city of Port Ivy, we will go ahead and end it there for today.
Yay. That was
Well, I hope you enjoyed.
the cliffhanger. I'm almost curious to ask if, out of character, if that drink actually did anything at all, or was it just an interesting fruit drink?
Well, only way to know is to ask.
Hmm.
But for those of you in the Twitch chat, hello! Greetings and goodbye as well. I apologize that we aren't able to interact too much with you guys, but thank you for coming by. I know it's not too it's not too active in here, and it's a lot of talking every once in a while, and we don't do too much combat. But when we get to it, we'll get to it. And perhaps you might be as intrigued and excited by it as you are by listening to our story. If you enjoyed it enough, perhaps you might be interested in dropping a follow, and that way you'll be known as to when Behemoth will be streaming once again for our beloved D&D campaign. If you want to know anything about what's been going on so far in the story leading up, you can go ahead and check out the YouTube channel that we have that is set up as well with the link that is being sent out now. You also have the Discord that you can check out as well, with the idea of being able to find out when Behemoth will be streaming and if or not we will be hosting our D&D session. I would go on and start begging, but to the usual extent, our normal D&D sessions are every Saturday, just about 2:30 to 2:45. We might be early and start 2 o'clock, but that's very rare because of my schedule. But I do hope you all enjoyed, and I'll go ahead and hand it off to Behemoth.
Thank you very much. So yeah, as Grape said, the next session will probably be at around 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. European time, which translates into 2:30 to 2:45 Eastern. But yeah, aside from that, I don't think much is going to happen for now. I have quite a bit on my plate currently, so except for D&D, I don't think I'll be doing much in the ways of streaming. But yeah, I hope y'all have a nice day / evening / whatever it is in your current time zone, and take care.